You make my high come down. Ooh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. Never have to cut you out like right now. You see, I don't have to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke some. Me try the marijuana. I was never you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they feel strange. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and the color on your lip.
Welcome to the Seahawks Man to Man podcast, powered by Blue Wire. Shout out to the new company. My name is Michael Sean Dugar. You guys can follow me on whatever Elon is calling that app these days. My at name has not changed. At Mike Dugar, MikeDugar. Shout out to everyone who shows love on our YouTube channel. Seahawks Man to Man is the name of the channel. That's Seahawks Man, the number 2 man. That is also the name of our Instagram handle and on TikTok. Seahawks Man, the number 2 man. Hit whatever buttons are positive for us on those respective platforms. It means a lot to us, even if you are just an audio listener. Either way, that means a lot. So thank you in advance. Appreciate it. Chris, go ahead, talk to him.
What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Christopher Kidd. You can follow me on Blue Sky and Twitter at CKIDD206. And that's CKid206. And also, we're at 4,300 subscribers. Let's get us to 4,400.
Nice.
We need 10 more people. So honestly, the 10 listeners that have yet to switch from audio to YouTube, just go ahead and do it right now.
Yes, or just hit the button. It don't even matter if you stay that much, but it's just nice, you know.
I'm calling 10 of you out to go do it right now. It literally takes you 3 seconds. So just go ahead and do that to get us to 4,400 on our way to 5,000. Mike, you're being at OTAs, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys in advance for doing that. Really, really do. Thank you. That means a lot. And yes, like Chris said, this is our post OTA show. OTA, of course, standing for Organized Team Activities. I was there for 3 days. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Today is Thursday. These were practices 4, 5, and 6 for them. That means that we didn't get to watch the first 3, which is fine. It's hot, and I need to be out there for all those. So everything we have, or that I have, in terms of reactions, analysis, whatever, is all based on just those 3 days. These are, I believe, this is the phase of the offseason program in which the offense can go against the defense. There's no contact and no pads, but that's a pretty notable development. Obviously, you're not just going routes on air and stuff like that. You can actually get interceptions and jump on, like moss somebody or it. The kid, I don't know if the kids still say mossing. I don't know if it's been replaced. I do know that now when they do what would be the equivalent of a moss, they like tap their head, like I'm doing. Yeah, the head. They take their palm of their hand and just like tap their head to let them.
Started in the NBA with all people getting dunked on.
Oh, that's the NBA. Okay, that's where that originated.
Sure. Ah, man, now I wonder. I don't know where that originated from. Maybe Ja Morant did it. I don't know.
I'm feeling out of touch. I was looking at the roster the other day, and I was just like blown away by how many guys' birthdays started with a 2. I was like, oh, I'm getting to that age. Not a lot of 90s babies on here. And if they are, it's like guys like Ernest Jones, who was born in 99, stuff. Wow. Stuff like that. Let's see, Jay Reed's 92, like you and I. Tank is 92. Chenna's 96. Big Hank is 92. So that's about it. Not a lot of guys mid-90s. Drew Lock 96. Oh, boy. Oh, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 94, Cup 93. I mean, I guess that's a good thing. You don't want to have, Michael Dixon, 96. You don't want to have a bunch of old guys on the team, so that's good. You want to get an influx of youth. But it definitely made me feel old looking at the roster that first day. I was like, oh, boy, I'm getting to that age. Also, Chris, I shared it on my socials, but did you see, before we get into the analysis, did you see the Biggie video that they posted?
Oh, with Young Spoon?
Yes, where the question of the day is.
Go
ahead.
Once I saw your Instagram post of it, I love my watching that because I already know it was going to be something that's like, bro, so I just left it alone. Based on what you said in your post, I knew it wasn't going to be good, so I didn't even watch it. I'm not even going to hold you.
Yeah, so the video we're talking about, the Seahawks posted, they have like a question of the day that their social team does. Cool stuff, usually just something pretty small. But the question was like, what magazine did Notorious B.I.G. read growing up? And Spoon is the person they asked. Now, Spoon, let's pull up his stuff while
2000.
we're. When was Spoon born? Spoon was born in 2000, and he is from, I believe, the same city as Doug, Pensacola, Florida. That is correct. And he went to Illinois. So, and that Spoon is also one of those guys. I don't know how much you guys pay attention to the Seahawks social feed, but sometimes they'll do like when a player's walking to the bus for a road game, they'll post what's in his headphones. They've done it for Spoon, I think, once or twice. And I don't remember the artist in particular, but it was a type of artist to suggest that Spoon is not listening to much Biggie. I can deduce that from the selection there. That said, it took Spoon calling at least 10 homies to try to figure this out. It wasn't like he was like, hey man, he called Kobe Bryant, a couple of the other DBs. They asked Nico Thorpe, who's an assistant coach on the team. Nico, who's 35, by the way, and did not know. It was very, very disturbing. Spoon kept saying salt and pepper for some reason. I'm not sure why. Before ultimately getting to the answer from one of the I think one of the D-line coaches who knew that it was
magazine.
But the answer, yes, as Chris says, word up. That video is like a minute and 12, and it infuriated me. I was like, oh my God.
I didn't need that in my day, Mike. I know it infuriated you. So the last thing I need to do was like, oh, let me watch Spoon struggle with this simple question.
Well, it's the thing. If Spoon had just not known, whatever. Like, Spoon's born in 2000. Juicy came out in the mid-90s. Spoon is from Florida. Maybe not listen to a bunch of, like, to Biggie records. But the fact that a bunch of them from all over the world did not, or all over the country at least, did not know was very concerning. Also, it's the first line of the song, and they were familiar with the record. So I was like, if you know the song, just start rapping it. But you know what? It's okay.
I'm not giving no excuses. His
they should have known.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest and best rappers of all time. I'm sorry, you don't get us. That's like not knowing who Tupac is or something. Like, what song was he talking about? Love and a state in the United States of America. You should know California Love. It's really that simple. There's no like, oh, let me call 10 of my homies. You should know that. Two of the biggest rappers ever. I'm sorry.
It's the popularity of the song is that really what made me, I was like, damn, man, that's unfortunate. Because I don't even necessarily think Biggie's all that great, but the popularity is undeniable. But that's the thing.
He's one of the biggest rappers ever. So to not know that, like, I don't listen to Biggie, but I know a lot of his popular songs. I know
you at least know the opening line to Juicy.
I know Jamal Crawford's favorite song because he's a big Notorious B.I.G. fan. And I was like, oh, I know a couple of his songs. Shout out to Jamal Crawford. I forget the name of the song now. Great. I got to look it up. But
he has the lyrics to Sky's the Limit.
That is his favorite song by Biggie.
Jamal Crawford does, not Chris.
1000%. And that just lets you know, okay, I got some game from him. And I don't listen to Biggie. I couldn't name you probably 3 Biggie albums. I don't know if he made that many now that I think about it. But the point
is not.
That's a bad one then. Okay, never mind. We're just gonna go back to Seahawks stuff because I'm going off the rails here.
Yeah, I mean that was it was a feel old moment on top of looking at some of the names on the roster.
2000 babies. Whew.
Yeah, I mean, guys there was one dude I think born in like 04 or something.
Oh my gosh. Unrestricted free agent maybe?
No, it was Eamon Worry. Eamon Worry was born in 2004.
I thought it was undrafted rookie. That is okay.
Yeah, 2004. He might be the youngest guy on the team as I scan this roster as we're going. Yeah, there's no one else born in 04. Nick is the youngest guy on the team. Oh, him and Damian Martinez are both 04.
If we're still cooking in 10 years, it's going to be nasty seeing 2010, 2014. We're like, what the? Oh, my God.
Yeah, no, that tripped me out. That tripped me out. Long live the old guys. But anyway, like I said, I was out there for camp. Let's start with the most important position on the team because that's the one I was most curious to see. Because Sam Darnold and the quarterbacks, I mean, because I went into camp wondering, okay, how's Mike McDonald going to play this? Is he going to do the 2012 thing that Pete did when he had Russell Wilson, Matt Flynn, and Tavares Jackson kind of rolled the ball out there and said, all right, you guys just do your thing, best man win, sort of situation. Mike has made it very clear that he is not doing that. He is like, Sam's our guy. And That's it. Everyone else just gets the scraps. Those are not Mike's direct words, but he was asked about it on the radio by Mike Salk of 710 Seattle Sports Radio. Mike Salk, that is. A lot of Mikes in this recap here. But Salk was like, hey, is there any chance Sam could, get beat out by somebody? And Mike McDonald, the first time I've ever heard him say this, he's like, you guys are crazy. Like the mere notion that someone else other than Sam could be the starter this year, his response was, you guys are crazy, and said that's a crazy question. That's Mike McDonald being sincere. He really does believe in Sam. Good for him. Whatever. I also went into camp or OTAs, Chris, trying to talk myself into the Darnold thing because I'm on record.
I haven't talked you into it enough yet. The best example I can give you is our thoughts on Geno Smith, and he became, one of our guys.
So here's the difference, because that's a fair point. Geno had what can be described as a very similar career arc to Sam to this point. Sam started with the Jets. That didn't work. He went to other places, and it didn't work. Mm-hmm. Carolina, didn't work. And then he goes to another more stable organization with stable coaching staff and has a really good year. So, I mean, there are some parallels there with Geno as well. I think the difference is Geno, I don't think would have had, let's use Geno's 2022 season, Pro Bowl, comeback player of the year. I don't think Geno would have had that in Seattle if he had not already been in Seattle. Like, I think that played a big role into that. Like, I do think when you're jumping into a new situation, at least the new situation here, that would have been a lot tougher. Because Sam had not been in Minnesota before and obviously had that type of year. I do think Minnesota's infrastructure was much better than what Geno had in 2022. That was a team that was like, oh, we're rebuilding, where the Vikings were like, no. We got dudes. They were ready to roll JJ McCarthy out there at some point, a rookie, because they felt they had the pieces around the quarterback. Whereas Seattle was like, it may seem like for some people look back now like, oh, that was a really good year, but around this time in 2022, it was like, yo, are the Seahawks rebuilding? That's all the questions we were getting. Like, Seahawks gonna win 5 games or whatever. Like, Pete still got it was like, woe is me around like Seahawks world, not in the building, but just like outside. That was before we knew they had 2 capable tackles. That was before Ken Walker popped. They didn't have a quarterback at this time in 2022. So, but anyway, I think Geno stepping into his staying with the team he was already with was a big thing. I also think that the Geno ceiling wasn't as low, because we've seen the worst version of Sam. It's pretty bad. Like it got nasty in New York. Like Geno, I think his last start with the Jets, he lit it up. I'm pretty sure we had to look this up. I'm pretty sure he had like a perfect passer rating in his last game in 2014. I forget what their record was, but like Geno showed a lot more promise, I thought. And like going into that 2015 season, you talk to people who cover the Jets. They were just like, oh yeah, they added this guy. I think they had like Eric Decker, Brandon Marshall, had some more pieces. I think they won 10 games that year with Ryan Fitzpatrick as the quarterback. They didn't make the playoffs, but that was the year Geno got punched in the face by his teammate, right? So like even going into that, it was like, oh, okay, Geno's gonna be good, right? Like there was some signs there that Geno wasn't stinky, and that could like be okay. I don't know if there were those same signs with Sam, so I think it's a little different. But also, as we've talked about, my main holdup, and this will still be my holdup until proven otherwise, which is also what I was looking at, is playing There's a certain type of quarterbacks that just fall into this bucket of if everything is good around them, ... right? And then there's a positive. There's a lot of quarterbacks like that. I'm not going to say it's a small bucket. Like Kirk Cousins in that quarterback, that little bucket. Help me out here, Chris. Who else is in that? Like if the circumstances are good, ... they can do good things. Who else is in there?
This might be as you quote, hot take, but I would throw Dak in there, to be honest with you. I know you probably think otherwise because you think
I'm a little higher on Dak, but that's fine. I don't think we need to debate it. You want to throw Dak in there? That's fine. I think the poster child for this is Jared Goff. Like when things are around Jared Goff, he's excellent. He's put together excellent seasons on multiple teams that his Rams team made the Super Bowl, and we are all pretty certain, we feel confident that the Lions could get there with Jared Goff. Like maybe you're off that a little bit. After last year, not you, Chris, just our listeners. But generally, I feel like people don't think, oh man, they got to upgrade that quarterback in Detroit or they're never going to make the Super Bowl. No, they feel like they've got enough there. At least they did when they had Ben Johnson and that dynamic O line in that offense, right? I think Sam is closer to being in the bucket of like, if the things are well around him, like are perfect, he'll be good. And that's a very important like distinction for me. Like if the things around you are perfect, you'll be good. Not that you'll be like excellent. Like you put the things are perfect around like some of these other quarterbacks. I think Dak, for instance, if the things are perfect around him, he'd be excellent. And we've seen that. I think he was like top 5 in like MVP in like 2023 or something. So anyway, I was looking to see Sam. Sam, I had my eye on him. I did not spend as much time as I would thought watching the other guys because I was more like, let me look at Sam. And this is the last 3 days. You know what, Chris? I have good things to say about Sam. Are you ready for them?
Absolutely. So are the listeners.
Yeah, the one thing that stood out to me about Sam, I put this in my notes. Let me pull this up. I think Sam has a good understanding of, at least in this setting, which is all we have right for now, of when the play is dead. And I think that's really important for any quarterback. But I thought Geno was also really good at that as well. And I think that when quarterbacks mature, one of the things that they mature at is that, like, okay, the play is dead. And I think that's really important for these guys who have big arms. Most quarterbacks in the NFL have strong arms, but there are other guys like Sam got a rocket. Geno has a rocket. Drew Lock has a rocket. Anthony Richardson has a rocket. Like there's some of these younger quarterbacks, you see them make mistakes, when they come into the league. And some of it is Josh Allen, same thing, to use an elite quarterback as an example. They come in and they have these rocket arms, and they just think, I can get this ball anywhere I want, anytime I want. Or they're thinking, I got to take the big play. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's 1st and 10, dog. Your running back's open. Boom. And I thought it's hard to chart that, which is why I'm not really a person who does like training camp stats. I think that's dumb. There's just lack of context because sometimes a great play for me might be a play action drop, which they're doing a lot of. A play action drop. I can see that this is a deep shot for Marquez Valdez-Scantling. That's a mouthful. We're going to call him MVS on this show. It really is. Can't be Jackson Smith and Jigba and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Like, come on now. That's a million names. But if they have a deep shot, and I can see, okay, that's the play. Okay, but Kobe's over the top. Josh Jobe is underneath. It's not there. I see him maybe look to the other intermediate route. JSN's not there. Okay, now he checked it to Zach Charbonnet. I'm going to write that in my notes and be like, great play by Sam. If you're just standing there, you're like, okay, whatever. Check down to Zach, the running back, whatever. But I'm like, yo, that's important. Can he do that? Check. I saw a lot of that. And he needed to do a lot of that, Chris, because the secondary was strapping up. We'll get to them in a second. But that was the first thing, because I really think that with quarterbacks, it's not like, can you make that throw they're all doing in this pro day where they roll left and then just let out a heater that's like 50 yards or whatever. And, like it's like this hot throw that they all do in the offseason, whatever. The quarterback is not about that. It's about like, can you, especially in this too high safety world, it's about, can you make these quick decisions that are right and live to fight another day? And when it's time to do that, do it accurately on the early downs. And when we need a bucket or whatever, we need a first down on third down, whatever, red zone, can you come through? That's generally what you need to do. Obviously, there's no run game here, so we're just focusing on the passing plays. So I was really impressed by Sam's ability to do that. I was impressed also, the second thing I wrote down in my notes here, and pull this up. I thought Sam did a really good job finding when there was a hole in the coverage, like making sure the ball got there on time in a situation like to protect his guys, because that's another thing. The difference between, I think, Chris, accuracy and ball placement. Like, yeah, you can complete a lot of your passes, but are you throwing it where you're leading the guy where he's not going to get smoked by the safety, particularly when you're throwing over the middle? Are you not making your tight ends have to reach out too high so their rib cages are exposed and they get smoked, right? Like if you guys watched whatever the Netflix thing was with they had Devontae Adams on it. Like he was like, yo, I got to get out of here when he's playing with Jimmy G. Because Jimmy G throws hospital balls. He gets guys hurt because he doesn't have good ball placement. You can be accurate, but not have good ball placement. Geno was great at that. You rarely ever see his guys get smoked. And Sam's not as accurate, so I was a little worried about that. And I thought he did a really good job, not like putting guys in dangerous positions, especially throwing over the middle. And there's a lot of over the middle stuff that you have to do against split safety coverages. So I thought that was good. Like ball placement was really good. And it's got to be when you're playing this Seahawks secondary because Chris, I wasn't. I don't know how much we talked about Josh Jobe last year, but in this setting, like especially when they know a pass is coming a lot of the time, him and Reek, man, they make it hard on the outside. They're not just getting cooked out there. So if you are going to try to find a soft spot in their defense, the Seahawks defense, it's probably going to be right in between the safeties and the backers, right there in that little Sean McVay spot. That hole that he hits every time he plays the freaking Seahawks and just throws up a bunch of like little in cut routes. Like that's where you got to hit it. And Darnold was hitting those pretty proficiently. I only saw like a couple really bad ones, and then one did get picked. Trying to throw Marquez Valdez Scantling because I don't think that's the ball you should be throwing him. But Chris, I thought those two things, beyond any like highlight throws, I don't really care too much about those. I'll put them in my stories, but I don't care. I'm looking at just snap to snap. Like, are you getting your guys killed? Can they get yak after you throw it to them? Are you not trying to force passes just because it's practice? I thought Sam was really good there. You know, I came away pretty encouraged just as a first impression. Life's different when you can get hit by 300 pounders. But like my first, when I walked off the field Thursday after 3 days of notes, I was like, you know what? I'm getting there. I'm getting there, meaning like sold on Sam. It's gonna take some time. I'm not gonna lie, but I thought that he had a really good feel for just all right. Take the plays out of there. If there's a big play, cool. If not, check it to Zach Charbonnet, and we live to fight another day. That was really good for me to see.
No, that makes sense. And I do like your point about the simple things, something that maybe a lot of people aren't even paying attention to because it's very easy to just be impressed with this big arm, taking big shots, making big plays down the field. But it is important that if a defense is, as you mentioned, doing a really good job of taking the deep stuff away and you're taking what's available, okay, cool. Now your offensive coordinator's gonna have to work harder and figure out how to get the guys open downfield, but at least you're taking what's available. You're not forcing things down the field because that can result in what? Turnovers. So that is huge. I thought that was actually a really good point you made in that regard, just because of how many times you see a quarterback forcing things, whether it be Geno Smith. We saw Geno Smith last year against the Cardinals trying to force it in the end zone and it got picked off. I think he was looking for Jake Bobo, if I'm not mistaken, on the left sideline. Nonetheless, doesn't matter who the player was. He tried to force something that wasn't there instead of taking Ken Walker, whoever was wide open on that play. He tried to force something down the field. And those are just lessons that you want your quarterback to be able to say, you know what? It is 1st and 10. It is second and 7. Let's just take what we have available because guess what? 9 times out of 10, Ken's going to make that first dude miss. That could be an easy first down. 9 times out of 10, he's going to do that. So I do like that Sam is being patient. And as you mentioned, it's OTAs. You only can write what you're seeing. And what you're seeing right now is something positive in that regard of him being patient and taking what the defense is given. Not everything needs to be a home run.
Yeah, and I thought so. On the first day, I thought there were some issues with that. So which is also why I stood out that it wasn't there as much the next couple of days. So, like for instance, in 7-on-7, like his first pass got picked, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. It was a really good play by Julian Love, though. I mean, it's a Cup's trying to go over the middle, split the safeties. I could see what Darnold was thinking. Like he probably has to throw that back shoulder because if he had led Cooper, maybe Kobe would have smoked him. So you want to have, have Cup flip his hips, turn around, and catch that way. But the problem was Julian Love knew that, jumped it. Great play. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And then right there, the next play though is JSN runs up, Reek's toes, boom, touchdown. I was like, okay, Sam's locked in. And the next play is an instance of what kind of we're talking about. It was, I think they had 3rd and goal up. And nothing was there, so Sam rolls right, and he sees Jackson, but he's late. So by the time he sees Jackson, Josh Jobe sees Jackson. Josh overruns the play, beats it, intercepts it near the sideline. I think that was 3rd down, and that's an example. When I wrote that down, the yardage or the down and distance mattered to me writing it down because I was like, okay, what down was that? Because should he have just thrown it away? Maybe, right? Because if it's 3rd down and you're in the goal line, let's kick this field goal because now we don't get points. You do a pick. I thought that when I wrote that down, I was like, okay, here we go. Also, the next play after that was a strike to Jake in the end zone. So Like I did like that Sam was bouncing right back. But then I thought the next couple of days were a lot better in that regard of like getting a feel for these DBs because now we can transition to them. Chris, I am very high on Seattle's secondary, like as currently constructed, like with Kobe, Julian, Reek, and Job. That's a tough bunch. Like I do think they're gonna, particularly in this setting. Reek, he's really good because when Reek's locked in, it's on. It's not you're not just getting open on him easy. You can do it. Like he got beat by MVS for a touchdown on Wednesday. Beautiful whip route. Something I didn't know MVS had in his bag like that. I thought it was just the speed guy. But like the secondary, you can see that they're communicating really well. Not a lot of like something happened on the sideline. They're all looking at like, hey dog, what was that? Where was you? Nah, this is the coverage. Just very much in sync, in tune. Um, Guys just moving on a string, and then when it's disguising coverages really well, usually stuff is vanilla this time of year where it's real basic, like, hey, we're just running cover three or running quarters or whatever. No, it's like you might see Spoon here, Josh disguising this. All that takes like continuity and time on task together. And I think I was looking forward to seeing that because that's what I expected when you bring back your whole secondary, and your secondary was good last year. But the discipline that they're showing on a snap to snap, I thought was really good, and it really stands out when they come off the field because that's right when the big plays happen. Like Drew Lock, you talk to some other people who were probably out there, like, oh man, Drew looked really good. Like, yes, it was very noticeable when the backup secondary came in because then Drew was just out there just dicing them up. Like Drew Lock was killing it. Killing it. I mean, he's rifling passes in Bobo, the backup tight ends, everybody. And Cody White, Drew and Cody White were locked in, hitting all these play action shots. But yeah, they weren't getting that type of stuff in the starting secondary. I thought they were really, really, really strong. Not a lot, basically, very few like, oh man, he's toast plays from the secondary. I thought really the main one, at least on a big play, MVS got Reek on a double move on play action really bad, which that may have been a touchdown in a regular season. That was down the sideline, toast, barbecue chicken. However, I think there was a flag for an eligible man downfield, so it wouldn't have counted. There you go. So like the best play that I saw in that regard from a starter on the starting defense getting beat was a play that may not have counted. So overall, that was like really impressive to me. That whole unit. What I am kind of curious about now is what their underneath stuff looks like because that was an issue last year. They could not guard play action to save their lives for a lot. Now, some of that was, Rayshawn, Tyrell Dotson, who's the other
Baker.
linebacker? Jerome Beck. Yeah, like it just it wasn't there. And Ernest Jones isn't out there right now because of the knee surgery, stuff like that. I think he'll be fine, but yeah, he's not out there right now. So that's where like if there was a soft spot in the zone, that's typically where it was, particularly when they had the backups in. Like who's number 47? Let me look him up. He came up my see, that was Josh Ross. Yeah, nah. Like maybe life would be a little different with him in there. And Chris, this also gets into where Nick Emanwuri would play. I wrote about Nick Emanwuri on the Athletic, I think a couple weeks ago. I did like a little film study on him. He's basically playing like big nickel with the starters. So basically, you're looking at Kobe, J Love, Spoon, Reek. I think they're all like top 30 in PFF too. Yeah, Seahawks have PFF's favorite secondary, it seems. But Nick basically plays with those guys, but plays near the line of scrimmage. So basically, like another linebacker, and then Spoon plays outside. I think that has the potential to be a really good lineup if Nick is on his stuff and Tyrese is on his stuff, because I think I might have talked to you about this before, but it's this the idea of like a weak link defense. And we've talked about this, I think, in the context of like when Trey Flowers was on the team. Sometimes your defense isn't even really about how good are your top 1, 2, or 3 guys. Sometimes it's like how not bad is your 11th guy. Does that make sense? Like, because if you got that one dude, particularly in your back 7, I guess who's your worst 7th guy is probably the way to put it. Like, if your worst 7th guy is Cheeks, to quote you, your defense will be Cheeks because they will just find a way to get the ball at that guy. So like they could have 4 good guys in the secondary, or then like Ernest is on his stuff, and then Tyrese is on his stuff. But if Nick's not on his stuff on a play action, well, you're gonna get cooked. Or if they got their nickel lineup in, which is Job, Spoon, Reek, J Love, Kobe, and then you got Ernest and Tyrese. If Tyrese not on his stuff in coverage, that's it. That's the end. You're cooked. If just one guy is not on it, so I want to see the defense at the back 7 at full strength, because I think if that's really probably going to be the only soft spot, the only weak spot. You're not just going to see teams bombing on the starting secondary with any regularity. Obviously, people get beat, that happens, but just with any regularity, no. I think for everyone listening now, however good you think the secondary is, I think it's going to be probably that good, if not better. I think that we're looking at a really, really solid discipline unit with this like sicko mastermind head coach and Mike McDonald. And as long as that that second level, those Eamon Worry, Tyrese, Ernest, as long as that is solid, yeah, I think we're looking at how hot should I be on the hot take machine here? I want to go top 5.
I think top 5 is that's like the bar. Like that's where you would start. Anything above that, you're like, great. But I think it starts at top 5 because they finished really strong. They finished a top 10 defense. You're telling me everybody's coming back and you're expecting more from a young Byron Murphy. You're expecting Josh Jobe to figure things out. You're expecting Reek to be locked in week 1 through the season. All these expectations, yeah, your defense, I think the bar is at top 5.
I'm trying to look at who my favorite secondaries were last year. Let me look at the teams that led the league. And let's see. Eagles was very good. That's probably the best. Let's see. Yeah, Eagles had Slay. They lost Slay though. Vikings was very good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, top. You're probably right. The Lions secondary is good with the DJ Reed addition for sure. Texans picked up Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Ravens should be. Yeah, I mean, there's some good secondaries out there, but yeah, I think that should be there. It should be a top 5 secondary. That's what I think. That's maybe. Yeah. I don't know if that's hot takey or not, but I think it should be.
Should be fun, and with the news of Aaron Rodgers signing to the Steelers, that makes the first 2 weeks just lightning, because now you have DK, a good quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers who can still move the ball. You know what DK can bring. You look at week 1 going up against the Niners, a foe that you're constantly seeing. They don't have Debo anymore, but they still got Kittle, who, for whatever reason, Mike loves putting this out there. Tight ends just have career days against the Seahawks, for whatever reason.
Because it's that second level. That's the thing. It's like you can lock up receivers. Like when Sam Darnold came in here and scored, let me see if I can look this up. When Sam Darnold came in here and beat the Seahawks in 2022 as a member of the Carolina Panthers. No. In 2022 as a member of the Carolina Panthers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he lost in 23.
Yeah, let me look this up. Sam Darnold came in here. Seahawks lost to the Panthers 30-24. Sam only completed 14 passes for 120 yards. DJ Moore had 3 targets, 0 catches. The leading receiver that day was Laviska Shenault with 4 catches for 31 yards. My point with bringing up that box score is you can lock up the other team's number 1, and the Seahawks you can still lose if you're not protecting the other areas of the field, particularly with your linebackers and whoever your nickel is. Now, if your nickel is Spoon, I'm not too worried about it. But if your nickel's a rookie, and then that's where people are going to be coming at you, particularly on early downs. That Niners game, if even Worry starts in that Niners game, they're going to try to find ways to put him in because those are the guys that are in conflict, those second-level defenders. Like Kobe and J Love, they can be like, oh, man, I got the post coming here and I got this coming here. You can kind of work that out. But at that second level, those linebackers be like, damn, is it run? Is it pass? Did I take the wrong step forward? Do I got this? Is there an over route coming behind me? Like, there's a lot going on. If you're a second-level defender, that's why it's so damn hard. That's why those second-level guys who can cover, those nickels like Spoon, who know how to play man also and can drop and play zone and turn around, spin around, follow those routes, those linebackers that can do it, Fred Warner's, Deion Henley, go Cougs with the Chargers. Like, those guys who can do that, like, that's why they get paid so much. So Yes, tight ends are going to test this team. I think just underneath guys in general are going to be kind of pretty interesting to see. Good, but otherwise though, I think we'll see some like pretty stout coverage from the rest of their secondary. I rewatched the game that Sam played against the Seahawks last year, and man, I thought they did like if you like you look at the numbers that Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison had in that game, a lot of that was not on Spoons and Reeks and stuff like that. A lot
Josh
of that
Jobe.
was it wasn't even. I don't even know if a lot of it was on Job. A lot more of it was just underneath. They were just attacking it like the second level guys. Like finding the soft spots in zones, flats, and yak. And then I think the game winning touchdown was a blown coverage. And then I think Justin Jefferson just was one on one with Trey Brown. That's he's not on the team anymore. But for the most part, those guys got busy on everybody else. Because you can do that if again you're in your back seven. If your seventh dude is not on his stuff, that's all it takes. 6 guys could be locked in, strapped up. One guy's not on it, then it could be a problem. So I think that as long as whoever that seventh dude is on it, the rest of the top of the top will do his stuff. I'm really actually encouraged by that. But I really just want to see it with Ernest out there. But my first impression of Darnold and the secondary was pretty good. They had a nice little back and forth. I didn't come away with that, Chris, because there's been some years where I'm like, oof, this is a problem. I can't remember a year off the top. Remember a year where they was real bad in the secondary? I'm trying to think.
Maybe our first year doing this when they were supposed to be the Legion of Boom 2.0.
2017 was because they had Sherm still.
But the corners were good. The safety play was not Mike Tyson, all them dudes. It was not Lano Hill. It was no.
Yeah, safety was weird because it was like Bradley McDougald and Tedrick, I think it was at the time, or something like that. 2018 is I hate to pick on Tedrick, but the Tedrick years were really bad. Tedrick, Trey Flowers, like that was a rough time around here. Like pre-Quandre, it's not great. The Quentin Dunbar year, I don't remember being super great. I think that's before DJ Reed came on. So there's been some times where I walked off the field like, this guy's a barbecue chicken. I don't feel that way, and I didn't expect to feel that way, but it's just good that I was right, or that they lived up to the expectation. So we'll see as it keeps going. But I thought that was really good. Let me see what else I had in my notes here. Chris, did we talk about how they're gonna play Jackson and Cooper Cup together?
No, we haven't. But you've now got a first little glimpse of it with 7. So what have you noticed? I would guess they're playing everywhere. They're playing everywhere. Slot, outside of the X, playing a Y, everywhere. Hell, they might want to throw him in the backfield as a running back. Make it more of a challenge, kind of like what the Niners did with Debo. Obviously, I probably put JSN back there. I don't know if I put Cooper back there, but hey, you still got respected when he is back there. What have you seen, Mike?
Yeah, it looks like they're still figuring that out, but I think yes, you're correct. They're playing both of them pretty much everywhere, but it does seem like that they've done what I would have thought was the right move. That if you do need someone on a particular play to win from the outside, go ask Jackson, because Jackson's the guy on the team. He's the only guy on the team I think who can win from everywhere. And there is just a difference between, like for instance, one of the plays that Justin Jefferson caught. This might be like we can clip this one. Justin Jefferson had a 3rd down catch against Reek in the game against the Vikings. And it was just a perfect example of what I mean by winning from outside. It's just one-on-one, tight window. I think it's like 3rd and 6.
Oh, the curl route?
Yes. And
Reek plays it. Route. I think either way, continue.
Yeah, either way. Reek plays it really well. Justin catches it 1st down. Like it's a simple play, chain moving play, but it takes a certain type of receiver to be able to win outside in that way where you don't have the threat of the two-way goal that inside receivers have, and you're not just like a speed take the top off type of guy like a MVS kind of generally is, or like they've had in the past with like a Marquise Goodwin or something like that. Winning in a phone booth, so to speak, that's tough. Jackson's probably the only guy I really, really trust to go do that from the outside, and the Seahawks seem to be using him accordingly. Not a ton. because they use so many motions and tight splits and stuff that you don't necessarily just need some guy landing up outside at X the whole time. He's not Devontae Adams, right? Or like who's a throwback X, like an Anquan Bolden or whatever. Like you don't need that, but every once in a while you do because it's good for your spacing. You can't just do tight splits every snap. So I was wondering how they were going to do that, and it seems like they did what I would have done as well, which is Jackson can play outside because Jackson can do everything. That's it. He's like a real do it all type of guy. Like he can run the underneath stuff. He had a one-handed catch today. It's beautiful, right between J Love and Kobe. Oh man, like in a real game, maybe he gets smoked, but he didn't. So it looked great. I think the Seahawks ended up tweeting that play out too. So I think that was a simple fix. I was a little worried about that. I think that'll hold up in real time. I think that teams that have to put, if you line Jackson up out there, I think teams are going to learn very quickly that you have to put your best guy out there on him. You know, like when they play, who's a team with a number one corner that's on the schedule? Steelers. They got Joey Porter's son. Joey Porter's son. You have to put him, if Jackson lines up outside, you're going to have your guy go over there. You know, I can't think of who else they got. Like they got number one corners on the schedule. But when you have them, yes, Stingley, you're gonna have to go follow Jackson. If the Jaguars have Travis Hunter in that role at that time, or Tyson Campbell, doesn't matter who. I'm looking at the schedule now. You have to follow Jackson. Commanders got Marshawn Lattimore. You have to follow Jackson. Looking at their roster, they do not have looking at their schedule. There's not a lot of shadowy guys at corner. That could be good. It'd be good for the Seahawks. Anyway, but when you do put your guy out there, you're gonna have to treat Jackson like DK. I think Jackson's gonna be there.
They got a
outside.
guy. What's his face?
I think if the Falcons are asking AJ Terrell to follow around Jackson, it's gonna be a long day.
He did a good job on DK though. To be fair.
He did because it's easier to do a good job on DK. As crazy as that sounds,
I know where you're going.
Well, just he's a better route runner.
I was gonna, that changes everything.
And DK knows that too. And now DK can think he's just a better receiver. That's fine. I'm not really here to argue that. But Jackson's a better route runner, and the better route runners are just harder to guard. It's just from anywhere. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's my last thing on these two before we move on to the next topic. Cooper. I think I said this on the show before, based on watching the film. But you never really know what guys nagging injuries are dealing with, different schemes later in the year, blah blah blah. So it's always good to see him in person. Cooper is good at I would say he's good at every route still, but he's got 3 that you can't guard. And as long as he just does the 3, I think they'll be okay. That's another reason why you put Jackson on the outside. Because Cooper is really good. He's got so much wiggle still for a guy born in whatever year that I said
92
earlier.
or 93?
Yeah, I think he's with us. Early 90s baby. 93. Yeah. Oh, his birthday is next week. Anyway, those 3 routes or whatever that he does really well from the inside. Oh, you can't cover those. You can't. It's really hard to cover Coop because of the wiggle he's got on the little routes he can do in the middle. You ask Coop to go out there and just burn somebody deep. Ain't doing that. I even overheard one. I can kind of hear the DBs from where we stand at practice. I remember one time one of the DBs was coaching up with another one. This was a vet coaching up another vet actually. Or no, I don't remember who he was talking to. Anyway, he was just saying man, he's like, I saw Cooper running vertical, but I know he don't do that. So I just cheated back down, and it's like, yes, okay. So I'm seeing this right. That's not to say Coop washed. Just at certain points, you got to have guys do stuff they're best at. That's all. That's actually, you should do that for the rookies too. It's not just the guys born in 93. So I think that Coop's got the things that he's elite at. He's going to be elite at those. He's going to be 47 years old, being able to wiggle probably, as long as he don't get his hip replaced. So I think that was good too, because I was wondering about that. It's I like Bobo, I like MVS, but this team needs to have needs to have Cup and JSN on the field. No joke, Chris, probably 80% of the time. Unless they're tired, yeah, come on, stay on the field. That's because that's the mismatch. Anything else, it's not really moving the needle much for me. But those two, oh yeah, I like the fix that Kubiak's kind of cooked up for that. It takes Jackson out the slot a little bit, but again, I think he's so good everywhere that they should be fine.
Fair enough. Well, we did get some Twitter questions, and I think it's best, Mike, that we start with voicemails. What do you think, man?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so
Mike.
let's get it going. Here's our first voicemailer. Appreciate all the love and support there. So don't be shy, folks, okay? Let's keep it going. Here we go. Here's our first one.
What's up, Mike and Chris? This is Miller Muse here in Seattle. I'm calling about asking about the offensive line. Now, I know it's been a stinker as of years, but I'm a little bit hopeful. So, with even a middle of the pack offensive line and Sam Darnold behind it, what's the chances that our offense can be better this year? I know Abe Lucas, fellow Coug, know you like that, Mike, is great. And I know Charles Cross is great. Gray Zabel is also in a little gray area, no pun intended. But we don't know what it's going to look like. Do you guys have any expectations of where this team could go offensively? Once again, love you guys. Keep the work up. You guys are doing great.
Appreciate the love. Go Cougs. Yeah, I was really encouraged to see Abe out there. I watched some for a story I was working on. I watched some cut ups of Abe and Charles from their rookie years, and it just reminded me like Abe at one point was their best lineman. Like Abe was really really good. He recovers really well if he's ever beat. He's super strong, really 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 strong, and he's really light on his feet for a guy that big. Because if you watch him, you look at him and Charles next to each other, like Abe is noticeably bigger. Even now that Abe looks like shed a little bit of weight, like he's just a bigger dude, and that shows up in his play. So watching Abe out there for these few weeks, or excuse me, these few days, I was like, yes, that this is gonna be. It's not Chris. It's not a coincidence that the last time they made the playoffs, they had competent tackle play, right? Like it's not that what's the word I'm looking for? Coincides, correlates. One of them co-words. It applies
Both of
here.
them.
Yes, good tackle play, playoffs. You know, they have to sort out the interior, but just Abe's mere presence, just giving them one less thing to worry about. Because Chris, for the last few years, it was like we got to worry about the left guard, the center, the right guard, and Abe's knee. That's just a lot to worry about. It's a lot. So if you only got to worry about if you got your, I think we got to give Gray a little time. I don't think just plugging him in there just fixes your whole problem, but I do think that's a step in the right direction. Like I do think Gray can be immediately better than what Lakin was last year, like as a rookie. I do. I think that. That may take some time, but I think he can get there. So let's say you're not too worried about your rookie left guard. If all we're worried about now is just Olu or Jalen Sundell and either Anthony Bradford or Christian Haynes. That's it. That's it. That's cool to worry about. If you got to worry about right tackle, right guard, center, and left guard, well, then you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose a lot of games. So I don't know. I don't know how average they'll be or whatever. I think that I may have said this on the show before, but what I've kind of decided on is just make the O line's goal every week. And this sounds bad, but it's the truth. Their goal should just don't be the reason the team loses. That's it. That's it. You go down the list last year, Chris. Let me look at all their losses here. Let's see how many we could attribute to just if they'd have blocked better, they'd have won. Let's see here. The Lions, absolutely. Giants game, absolutely. Oh boy, yeah, this is bad. And when I say block, I mean run game and pass game, by the way. Niners game, absolutely. Oh, this Bills game was a disaster. Oh,
They got their ass beat.
Yeah, bad. 31-10. I forgot that was so lopsided. Second Rams game, absolutely. Though I think that the blocking, some of it was fine. I feel like Jackson would have had like 250 yards or something if somebody was holding. I think it was Mike Jarrell had like 3 penalties or something like that. Him and Anthony Bradford, that was bad. But if the O-line had just played better, even, blocking, whatever, yes, they win that game. They also couldn't. There was also short yardage problems in a lot of these games. I'm remembering now, like running
Giants.
the ball. Yeah, Giants, Rams in overtime. Yeah, this is. Oof, the O-line was half the damn problem.
Something we've been saying after every game.
Oh wow. Packers game, yes. Although I think that's where Geno got hurt. I want to say Sam Howell came in. They were kind of cooked.
Threw a pick. Yep.
Yeah, I was done. And then Vikings. Yeah, not as much. I don't remember that being as as much of an issue. I know they couldn't run the ball in that game for sure. I do remember that. Honestly, a lot of these games, yeah, I think the goal should just be don't be the reason we lose. Like if the reason is like some special team stuff, like remember the Jets game. The Jets game they almost lost because their kick returners couldn't hold on to the ball. Let it be something like that. Or Jason Myers has an off day, or Sam throws some picks, whatever. Just don't let it be the O line's fault. Because just going through last year very briefly, if
We
the
need
O line
5
was
games.
they have the type of season the Vikings have. If the O line's like just not the reason you lose, because in a lot of these games, that was like if I was to make a checklist of like, okay, why'd you lose today? The O line would have been like the top 2 reasons, like in like every loss, probably. Maybe, yeah, probably every loss. To be honest, I would have to rewatch every game to be sure, but I think that at the very least, that should not be an issue. Maybe it's an issue. Let's say how many games they lose last year? 7. Maybe so instead of 7 times that being the issue, or 6, let's say 6 times to be fair to the O line, it's only an issue 3 times, 2 times. I think that's a lot better. I think for you people who want them to go 12-5 or 11-6, that is the way you get there. Is that the O line's they're only the issue like once or twice, like 3 times max. 3 times max. Sam's the reason maybe twice. Say the O line's the reason 1 time, Sam's the reason another time, the defense is the reason another time. That's 5. There you go. That's how you get to 12-5. I think that's a realistic expectation. Excuse me. Do I expect that? No, not really. But I do think having Abe and Charles there makes me feel a lot better about it. It really does, because it's really hard for me to express how bad it was the last couple years, just not knowing whether you had Abe and then getting a not 100% Abe and then having to rely on Jason Peters and Stone and Mike Jarrell and Jake Curran. Like, look at these names I'm naming. These are dudes that are not starting in the NFL anywhere. They're not. And there's a reason for that. And so these are the guys that the Seahawks were relying on. Yeah, Jason Peters out there, they were relying on him to stop Myles Garrett for an entire game. Now, he did a good job that game, but the fact that they asked him to do that in a game that's you don't want that. Shout out to JP for getting that done, but that's just not normal that you want to ask your 38-year-old third string right tackle or whatever. So having Abe, I think, will help quite a bit as long as he is healthy, which last thing on Abe, I asked him, said, are you 100%? He said, I don't know if anyone's 100% ever, but I'm playing, so that's good. And you know what? Abe's right. I tweeted that quote, and it looked really bad. I was like, dang, that doesn't read as positive as it sounded. Like, it reads awful, even saying it back now. I'm like, damn, Abe. I wish you would have said it differently. But that's just kind of how Abe talks. I don't know how much you guys watch Abe's press conferences, but like, for instance, someone asks Abe, oh, what do you think of the new scheme, the wide zone running scheme? He was like, I mean, I don't really have a choice. So it's great. Which it's like, Abe's not poo-pooing on the scheme when he says that. Abe's just a realist. He's very like Kawhi Leonard in that way. Just very matter of fact. Like, just dry. I mean, we could be running whatever scheme. I ain't got no choice. So I'm gonna run it. All right, cool. Like, doesn't mean he doesn't like it. He's right. He does not have a choice. So, yeah, I think with a healthy Abe, they should be at the very least not the reason for every loss. Which in Seattle, that's a huge, huge, huge improvement.
Huge improvement indeed. We got one more voicemail. Let's go ahead and run this one as well.
Hey, this is Cruz from Missouri, and I just want to, with the top 50 Seahawks thing coming out, do you guys think there was any snubs or anyone you guys would have liked to seen put in there? And if not, who in your mind is in the top 10 of all Seahawks players would you put in the top 10 Seahawks of all time? Love the show. Keep up the good work. Thanks, guys.
All right. Appreciate the question. Yeah, this is the 50th anniversary of the Seahawks, the existence as a franchise. The Seahawks are putting out their top 50 players. I think they all might be out by the time this podcast comes out. They're not making a list. It's just, here are the top 50. I forget the methodology they use to create the list. It doesn't really matter for these purposes. I told them behind the scenes they should have done a list. Give people stuff to argue about, but they were just like, nah, that's just too messy. We want this to be celebratory, not first take. And I'm like, you know what? That makes sense. Then I told Bob Condotta of the Seattle Times he should make a list of the best 50 players in franchise history. I don't know if he is or not. Tell you right now, I'm not. But we can build a top 10. Build a top 10. Yeah, I
Oh
got a
yeah,
pen near me. Let's build a top 10 really quick.
that's easy.
Okay.
We'll go with the old guys first because I feel we gotta respect our elders, and for all the older listeners that are double Mike and I's age. So
I
we're
don't
not
think we
30.
gotta respect anyone. We don't want to. It's our show. You want to leave out Steve Largent? Leave him out.
No, I know he was good. Great. Excuse me for those that put some respect on his name, Chris. I know he was an elite one, so I'm not going to disrespect my man.
You
I
sure?
know you wouldn't either. Yes, you wouldn't either. You would leave him out of your top 10?
No, I just grabbed a pen. I'm gonna try to make. Let's. Are we gonna make a joint 10 really fast? I don't want to spend too much time on this. So we
That's
can
fine.
make
Yeah.
okay. So
You
I
want
think we can figure out who has to be in it before we order it real fast.
easy.
So we got Largent has to be in.
Kenny Easley.
Easley's in. Okay.
Um,
Cortez is in.
oh yes, Cortez, Kennedy, and I think those are the three.
Big
that are
Big
like-
Walt. Big Walt's in.
That's 4.
All right. Russ is in.
Is he?
Oh. Okay.
I don't know. So
Put a pin in that. Put a pin in that.
Put a question mark.
Sherm's in.
Check. That's 5.
Earl's in.
6.
Bobby's in.
7. Sean Alexander.
I would have Sean in, yes.
Okay, that's 8. Marshawn.
I would have Marshawn in, yes.
That's 9. I feel like we're missing one defensive back. Oh, would you put Cam in there? And that's why I say put Cam in over Russ. That's probably where we differ. Matter of fact.
Interesting. You don't have Russ as the top. Let's just focus on that. Let's just focus on that for a second. You don't have Russ as a top 10 Seahawk of all time?
I feel like I'm missing another elite player that could be in the top 10. No, I don't. I think he would be like 11 or 12. What about Robbie Tobeck?
No, I think this is the 11 I think that we would be working with for sure.
Okay.
I think I maybe we're missing somebody because we're doing this on the fly, but I think that's the 11. I have, let me see. Largent, Easley, Cortez, Walt, Russ is 5, Sherm, Earl, Bobby, Marshawn, Sean Alexander, that's 10, Cam's 11. Yes, we have 11 names here now. That's probably the 11 we should be working with.
I feel like Steve Hutchinson, man.
Okay. Yeah. How many years he play? 5?
It's not a sexy position. Don't get me wrong.
No, I got love for Hutch. I did a story on him when he went into the Hall. I want to say, how many years he play? Seahawks 5. Yeah, I mean, so who we bumping out? This is fun.
Oh, you know what?
out.
Did I say Max Unger too? Who the Seahawks traded away, and that trade never.
Nah,
worked out?
Max wouldn't make this for me. I think the 12. This is probably the 12 we have.
Okay.
Yeah, Hutch played as many years as some of these other
That's
guys in
Max.
here. Yeah.
So yeah, Russ
You
doesn't
want
make
to
the
bump
top 10.
Russ, huh? Wow. Okay.
I think Russ would be like 11 or 12. I think that's fair. I see you're over here. Mike gonna have to do a whole story on why Russ is top 10.
I had just never considered that he may not. I always kind of considered him an auto lock until like literally just now. But that's an interesting one.
Well, that's our rough 10, 11, 12. Russ is a question mark because I can't put him in top 10 personally. I feel Cam has him, which would be the 10th, and then I could understand put him 11 or 12. I think that's fair.
Oh boy. Okay, so we're leaving out Russ and we're putting in Hutch over Cam. Is that what we're doing?
No, we're putting in Cam. So Cam's 10, right? And then Hutch is 11. Well, it doesn't matter. We're doing top 10.
So okay, we're leaving out Hutch and Russ. That's what we're leaving.
Yes, correct.
I would swap if we're gonna do if we're gonna do that. I'm swapping Hutch for Cam.
For Cam, that's fine.
Yeah, I feel like we have to, right?
Do we?
Yeah, I kind of
Cam got a Super Bowl. Cam was a huge part of that defense. Not that Hutch didn't win anything. I mean,
yeah, you're talking about an all-pro player though. You're all-pro, like multi-time all-pro. I think he made multiple first-team all-pros.
I think he was
Seattle.
2-time or 3.
Yeah, I think he was 2-time first-team all-pro in Seattle. I don't think Cam ever was. You know, I think he kept losing out to like Earl and like Eric Weddle and Eric Berry and stuff like that, which those are good players, Weddle and Eric Berry. But it's
Yeah,
like, well, I
that's true.
mean,
That's
if
fair.
I'm
So you know what?
gonna call you one of the best players ever, you know, I mean, I
You
would at least
gotta.
want you to get that.
Yeah, we can swap that. That's fair. That's a good point. Because yeah, I think
Everybody
Cam.
else here has been all pro, I'm pretty sure. So except for Russ. Russ has never been first team all pro.
So yeah, that's fair. I like that. That makes sense. Everybody on the list has been all pro at least once or twice in that regard. So you want to continue that. So yeah, we'll throw a
Or
big
they're
O
in the Hall
line.
of Fame like Kenny Easley, you know.
Oh yeah, he set the bar.
Well, actually, yeah, Kenny was also first team All Pro. So yeah, so before I move on, I like this. This is good. We just did this on the fly too, but I feel like it's pretty accurate for two guys born in the year that the Seahawks were awful in '92. In no order, we have Largent, Easley, Tez, Big Walt, Sherm, Earl, Bobby, both Sean's, Marshawn and Alexander, and then I'm switching. Are you okay with me
No,
switching
yeah, absolutely.
Hutch for Cam?
Yes.
Take Cam out.
Because I forgot that there was Eric Weddle, Eric Berry. Actually, I don't even know if Eric actually Berry did that. But anywho, there were a lot of really
No, he
good
was.
safeties.
He was. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was just unfortunately Cam just playing a really great era with safeties. To be honest.
Yeah, okay. I'm cool with that. Do
Yeah,
we
that
have
works.
a number one? Do you have a number one?
Easily, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he was like the Aaron Donald for the Seahawks back in that time.
I'll probably go Big Walt. Probably go Big Walt. It's my number one.
That's fair too.
I can go back and forth. I'll take him or Bobby. I feel like those guys.
Man, Bobby's definitely in the conversation. I didn't. Wow, you know that's a good point. Yeah, Bobby. He deserves his flowers.
Yeah. So that's a
Wow.
good list. It's a good list. I like that. Appreciate that question.
All right, let's go to the Twitter and see what we got there. We also got a few from our listeners, so we appreciate you guys asking questions via Twitter as well. This first one comes from Daniel Huber. Based on participation, it seems like there is a certain investment of almost all the players into the new Seahawks project. What's the vibe within the team in general, and also compared to the outside perception of this season's projections?
Yeah, outside projections are hard to nail down. Vegas's betting odds is like what 8.5. I honestly think that's a fair line. I feel like if you just zoom out and look at the rest of the league, it's very easy to see how just people are not high on the Seahawks. They may not be high on Sam Darnold. They're not high on replacing DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett with Cooper Kupp and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They didn't make that many changes to the O-line. They really just added Gray Zabel, really. Which, if you're on the outside, I can see. If you think about it, those moves are not gonna like move the needle for you. You know, it's like, okay, you took the Seahawks team that was like okay last year, and you got worse at quarterback to a lot of people, myself included. You downgraded your receiving talent, arguably. I think that would be fair to say, honestly. And your defense is probably gonna be a little better. That's not like screaming you're just massively improved, which is why I have them at like 9 wins before the Steelers sign Rodgers, which I don't think changes the math for me much. So you think about it, it's not just, oh, this is a 10-win team and they're better so they win more games. They got to the 10th win by beating half of the Rams starters by the skin of their teeth, like in week 18. Like, you got to be very honest about how they got the 10th win, folks. So it's not to say they couldn't have beat a healthy Rams team, but as we've talked about before, they have literally never beaten Stafford and Sean McVay together. So I'm not just going to assume they would have beat healthy Rams team. So you're kind of looking at like a 9.5 win team, kind of that downgraded at some important positions, but is going to be better you're going to be better at certain spots. That's just not hard to quantify. Like, if you really think about it, like, everyone take your Seahawks hat off for a second. I'll even take my hat off here on the show just for symbol purposes. Taking my hat off. Chris, take your do-rag off. This is for the symbol. No? You gonna take your do-rag off? No?
To help
it's for symbolic purposes. I don't have a haircut either. It's cool. Oh, you always have one, so you're good. We both took our hats off, right? This is an example. We're taking our Seahawks hats off. You're asked, a lot of the Seahawks getting better in 2025 is based on the hiring of Clint Kubiak, the defense being in just year 2 of a system, the addition of a rookie left guard, and Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling being better than Geno Smith, DK, and Tyler Lockett. All right, we all have our Seahawks hats off for this exercise. Let's be honest here. Nationally, that doesn't sound that great. All right, it just doesn't. It sounds like a very run of the mill team that just moved a lot of pieces but didn't make a big jump. All right, I think we could be honest. Can we be honest about that? We don't have our Seahawks hats on, Chris.
Yes.
All right, we could put our stuff back on. Put our hats. You probably got to retire do-rag. I'm sorry.
Oh,
about that.
thanks, Mike. Yeah, you didn't think
Well,
of that,
it
did you?
just helped for the exercise. I feel like we should clip that too. Because while Chris and I can agree that should lead to some improvements, I feel like nationally I can understand why people look at the Seahawks and like, well, they did some stuff, but so did this team and that team and that team. Like a lot of teams made some good moves. So anyway, as for the vibe in the locker room, I haven't been in the locker room or just the vibe around the team. I do get the sense that the offense is a little bit in like the wait and see. Like they're very confident in what they have, obviously, but the defense, I'm really smelling confidence from the defense. They really feel like they're gonna go out there and be a top 3 defense, if not the best. Not just saying it because it's May. Like every defense doesn't say that every year. I've been around enough to know they don't. Sometimes it's just like we want to be good, we want to be dominant, yada yada yada. But no, they're very clearly like we have the pieces. Like they don't see it as like there's anything wrong with this defense. Like what I was talking about with the second level, they don't see it that way. They're like, yo, we got Ernest. We good. He gonna bring Tyrese along. We straight. Oh, we got our secondary. Oh, we putting the straps on. Look at our front line. Leo, Jay Reed, Murph, D Hall, Healthy Chenna, Tank. Like anytime you got to do them Tank on your D line, that's always good. You know, like this, they're seeing this as we're gonna go out here, we're gonna wreck shop. And I think that attitude is gonna carry throughout the rest of the team. But I really feel it from the defense. And I do think that's why a lot of these guys are here. Because the veterans don't have to be here. Like, why is Jay Reed here? He ain't got no reason to be at OTAs, but he's here vibing with the guys. Why is Hank here? Hank don't need to be here, but he vibing with the guys. You know, same with Leo. And I think that's important. They realize that's important. I thought Ernest Jones said it the best. He was like, it basically was an unspoken understanding of like, we're going to be a championship team. So let's all show up and build the foundation now. Because they want to win a Super Bowl. I don't know if they will, but they legitimately feel like they can. It's not just like off-season cliche talk. Because I know what that looks like. This is not that.
This next one comes from Miller Muse. This is simple, Mike, or it might be simple. Do you think the Seahawks defense could take a step back this year? Or do you only see them getting better? They had some pretty rough games last season defensively.
You tied your do-rag fast there. So here's my thought on the Seahawks defense. Yes, I can understand why you might think they take a step back because I feel like what we do a lot of times is just look at who they played and just kind of poo-poo the result. Like you can do that in the second half of the Seahawks schedule. For instance, let's do that. Let's look at the second half of the Seahawks schedule. Let's start after the bye week. Look at the offenses they played. They played that broken Niners offense coming off the bye. Broken meaning they were just really banged up. You know, Debo was fat. Ayuk had tore his knee up. No Christian McCaffrey, right? Beat them 20-17. They played a broken Cardinals team, a very dysfunctional Jets offense. Cardinals again played a functional Packers offense, gave up a 30 ball. Played a functional Vikings offense, gave up 27. Played a very dysfunctional Bears offense and limited them to 3 points. And then played a Jimmy G-led Rams team, right? And still gave up 25. So I can see why you could take those numbers, those, you know, the strength of schedule and be like, come on now. They just feasted on a bunch of teams that their starting quarterback isn't there no more. Their quarterback, like the circumstances have changed. Mike understands. I get that. That's why I think watching the film is important and talking to the guys, because I think that there's so many things that they were just doing on the fly last year, particularly with your green dot players showing up via trade in October. Like that's just really hard. I think that this is where the national view of it may differ from people who are just around it, like me, like Chris, who are watching the tape every week. The stuff that they're putting on film, I feel like it's very easy to correct with more time on task, more communication, just knowing, because that was the thing with the Legion of Boom. Sherm would talk about this all the time. He could just look at Cam and they would just know based on the alignment, based on reps, based on film study, hey man, we're kind of screwed if they snap the ball right now. but I'm gonna look at you, Cam, and just know we're gonna do something else now. Right? All right, ready, break, and then go, and then they make the play. And it just looks like, oh, this Legion of Boom defense is good. You get on the sideline, you hear from Sherm or something, you realize, oh my goodness, they just freestyled that. I think a really good example, I forget the year now, but remember that play where Earl hits Gronk and
Oh,
he
the regular
punctures his
season
lung?
game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to say 2016 Sunday Night Football. Like that play is freestyle. Cam's not supposed to cover Gronk up the seam. Sherm's supposed to cover whatever else. Cam and Sherm recognized they were in conflict. I forget who made the call, but they make a call and have Cam cover Gronk, right? And then it leads to a pretty popular play in Legion of Boom history, and it punctures Gronk's lung because Earl just came and smoked him, right? Like on paper or on TV, it was like, oh my God, a great play. And you realize that's a chemistry thing. And I feel like there's just going to be a lot more of that. And that's hard to quantify really with the numbers. And they do play some good offenses this year. But I think you're going to see a lot more of that because of the who they have. Not to say they'll never blow a coverage, but I think that J Love's mind is really sharp. Listening to Spoon every day on the sideline at camp is just like, I wish they mic him up for the stuff they show you guys on social media, but I really wish everyone could come to practice and just listen to Spoon. Listen to him call out before the snap. It's like, oh, here it go, they're going to Bobo. And then the ball goes to Bobo. Or he shuts down a corner route and then he gets to the sideline and he tells J Love, bro, he did this, did that. That's why I knew the corner route was coming. You see, I jumped on that. That's my Spoon impression, if you guys can't tell. But like Spoon does that so much, and you can see the other guys communicating and saying, yeah, I saw this, so that's why I did that. He'll tell Job, hey, Job, I had this. That's why you did that. And Josh be like, yeah, that's why I held, so much communication pre-snap in the routes on the sideline that you just need reps to do that. They didn't have all that last year. Just threw Job in there. Kobe didn't even start the season as the starting safety. Forget about that too. So I think as long as they're just healthy, as long as they're healthy, there should be no step back.
This next one is from Axel MTG. The Seahawks trade a second and a third for Rory. They're also reported to have offered Geno and DK for Max Crosby this offseason. What are their expectations for Rory, given that reportedly they were willing to give up similar compensation for a Max Crosby?
I wouldn't equate those trade comps. That Raiders one sounds more like a you ever offer somebody something in fantasy football that you knew was wild?
No, I don't do that.
Nah. Okay, you ever got an offer like that though?
Yes, and I just ignore it.
There's a dude in our league that Chris actually he's out the league now, right? Yeah. Yeah. Cat that just got married. Yeah, he's out the league now. But there was a guy used. Oh, he is. He's back. He's back in.
You're thinking of. I think we mixed up the guys, but Corbin is the one that did a lot of that. But the one you're talking about is married, and he's in again. He's in this year.
Okay, he's back. But anyway, so Chris and I play with a dude in our fantasy league who just sends just massive stuff, like just to see who's stupid or who hits the button on accident. I think that's what the Raiders. That's reportedly I think what they did. But I do think that they're really high on Rory, not to the Cam Chancellor extent. Like if you notice, like Mike McDonald hasn't really embraced that much. Like he's like Cam. He didn't coach Cam, so that makes sense. But I think they're just really high on his potential as that big nickel because it'll solve a lot of their problems. Because you want to be able to cover 11 personnel in some of these heavy personnel groupings that pass on early downs, but you still want to be able to have guys fit the run that aren't Spoon size. Not to say Spoon can't do it, but there's a reason you put big guys there. Like you get the Cam Chancellor like build and effect there, but you still get the pass coverage because this guy runs a 4-3. In theory, I don't know if it'll all come together like that. So, but Nick gives them a really good answer to the problems because I think even last year, one of the reasons why you may wonder, oh dang, they had this good secondary, but still give up this, and that. It goes back to what I was saying about the seventh man being good. Everything can be six guys can be playing well, and then Rayshon takes a bad angle, then it's a first down, right? So, in theory, Nick replaces Rayshon. He replaces a Kayvon Wallace, right? He's your dime linebacker, a better version of what they used to get from Ryan Neal. So, I think that's why they're hype about him, because they already feel like they got the answer to the problems in nickel. Their nickel package, Spoon, Joe, Reek, Kobe Love. That's great. But all right, what about our early downs when we're putting Spoon on the outside, Reek on the outside? Who's going to be our nickel to make sure we're not getting run on, which they were last year? Oh, we put a big nickel there. This 6'3", 230-pound dude that we just drafted. Let's put him there. And if we need to cover, he can cover as well, to be TBD on my part. But that's the thought. And it makes a lot of sense. It really just gives them a lot of answers, because that's all defense is. The offense presents a problem. Do we have the scheme to stop it? Do we have the personnel to stop it? Of course, Mike McDonald's going to believe he has the scheme, because he does. But does he have the personnel to stop it? Last year, he did not. That's why he was sending guys out of here in the middle of the season. Fast. He said, oh, you can't get to that perimeter, huh? New linebackers, boys. Today. Respect it. Anyway, but now I feel like that's their answer to the puzzle. I don't know if that'll be the case. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if this starts off and like Ty Okada is the answer instead. Just because he's a little bit more familiar, really good communicator, yada, yada, yada. But that's why they're really high on Nick. I see the vision there. I think it's going to take some time. But that's the reason they love Nick so much. Ignore the Max Crosby comp, but think of it more in the scheme sense. That's why Mike McDonald is going to love this dude.
This next one is from the Big Ginge. Who has surprised you most from OTAs? Any standout potential blue chips?
I don't know about blue chips, but I'll give you guys a couple dudes to watch. I wrote these down because I figured we get a question like this. Who is number 51? He was jumping out to me. That's a rookie. Jared Ivey. Big edge rusher. Big, strong edge rusher. Really just strong point of attack, dude. I think he's the coup from Ole Miss. Yeah. He's one. He was number. I usually write down jersey numbers because stuff is moving so fast. But 51, for sure. 37, Demarion Williams. I think feisty dude. One of these dudes you guys are probably liking, like camp and stuff like that. I could see him making a lot of plays, playing a lot of snaps with the reserves. Let's see some other guys. I mentioned Ty Okada just now. I think Ty is one of those dudes where, like, if he just gets the opportunity, he's gonna be ready. Reminds me of Ryan Neal. Like, Ryan was just ready. He didn't play as a rookie. He bounced around. Falcons, think Eagles maybe. The Seahawks were like his third or fourth team. But when he got in the field, just like spur of the moment, he was ready. I could see Ty being equally ready. Maybe his first game is shaky, but then like anytime he has to play after that, I think he's gonna be ready. Really feisty dude. Really likes to play the run. Physical dude. He was one of those guys. A lot of the Titans players wanted to fight by the second day of joint practices because they were like, dude, who is this white guy? Just keep chirping at us and hitting us. Oh, it was Ty Okada. So I wrote down, yeah, he's 39, but I know him. I don't have to go by his jersey number. Who else popped out to me? Bobo. I wrote down Bobo. I mean, that's not a surprise. You guys have been watching him for a little bit, but Bobo is like, man, we had him on the show last year. Shout out to Bobo, but his raw running is like, it's getting better, which is saying a lot because it's been good last couple of years, man. Like, he puts moves on guys, like to the point where Spoon, like I mentioned that example, Spoon will call out routes like, oh, this is going to Bobo. He knows that because Bobo probably gonna be open. Like they're making a concerted effort to try to shut down Jake. Like he's really solid. Like I had some questions about some of these guys who aren't Jackson and Coop in terms of receiver room. I thought there might even be room to upgrade there. But if Jake keeps going on the path that I think he's gonna be going, I think they should be fine. Like Jake could really work himself into wide receiver 3.
Wow.
Yeah, nah, man, because he's still not super fast. That's not going to change. But when you can this is so much of the world right now is, can you get open underneath because everybody's playing too high defense, and Jake can do that, and he can win on the outside. Yes. He's probably the other guy I trust the most to, like, okay, you're at the outside the numbers, phone booth, go win. Jackson's who I trust first, and then Jake would be number 2, which is saying a lot because they got other good route runners on the team.
This last one comes from Aaron Martin. Can you talk about Jalen Milroe? Inquiring minds want to know.
Man, I wish we got to see more Jalen Milroe at practice. Chris, the reps was crazy. They would get, like, this is an example. Let's say there's 24 reps in a drill for all the quarterbacks. They were giving Sam like 20, and then Drew would get 2, and then Jalen would get 2 at the end of the drill. Like, damn. That'd be it. No, Mike McDonald said this is not a competition. This like you guys are the backups. Sam is the guy. He's making that very clear. That I don't chart the reps, but like that was it became very clear by the second day that these guys were not gonna this is not like, oh, maybe they can steal some reps from Sam. No. Sam's the guy. You guys get the scraps of what's left. If there's 18 snaps in a drill, Sam's getting 14, you guys get the other, you divide up the other 4. So it was not a lot from Jalen. Jalen was playing almost exclusively with the threes. I wish I had more to update on Jalen, but it was just like I'm looking at some of my notes right now, man. It was run play here, scramble here. They had a drill today at the end of practice where Jalen's unit came in and got back-to-back false starts. That's not a Jalen problem, but or maybe it is. Maybe he messed up the cadence. I don't know, but like that shows you kind of how rough it was for the young bucks, which is to be expected. But yeah, it wasn't super great for the young guys in his group. The one thing I will say good on Jalen that is you can tell that he's been working on the non-flashy throws. Like he's got that. I mentioned the pro day throws earlier. Jalen could probably throw it as far as anyone on the team right now. Probably if all this just stood there and all 3 of them just threw it, Jalen probably throws it the furthest. Is it the furthest or the farthest? Furthest? Farthest? It's furthest? Okay.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Jalen would probably win that competition between the 3 quarterbacks, but that's not how quarterback works in the NFL. It's can you hit that check down accurately? It's can you squeeze that ball in there before the safety drives on it? Okay, can you run this deep out route and hit Cooper Kupp right in the hands? Like right before, give him enough room to drag that second foot. Like these are harder underneath throws and you have to throw these on time and in rhythm and with a guy in your face. And you can see Jalen's been working on that. It's gonna take some time. But that is I can just see the difference. After watching a bunch of his Alabama footage and then watching him now, you can see, okay, Jalen, you watched the same stuff I did. It was like, hey, I gotta hit this shallow crosser on time, or the linebacker will smoke my guy. Like it's just little stuff like that at camp is just like, oh, he just dumped it to Cody White for 5 yards or whatever. But it's like, no, that's good that he saw that shallow because the deep ball was taken away and he hit it quick. Jalen's, you can see he's working on the stuff like that. If he hasn't been working on it, he's fooling me because he looks good in that, and that's probably some Kubiak, probably some coaching. Everybody's got the same film. So, but yeah, this is not 2012. That you can see that now. Mike McDonald is not about to let the young buck just take Sam's job unless Sam gets hurt. Like healthy Milroe is not. I doubt he climbs the depth chart anytime soon. Not when you're only getting 10% of the damn reps. That is hard. That's okay. As long as Sam's playing okay, then that's fine. Sam's gets to stinking up the joint, you got to up those reps. But for now, they don't need to do that. Milroe's QB3, and he'll probably be that probably all the way into training camp, I would guess.
That's fair. Well, look, we want to thank you guys for tuning in, watching another episode of Seahawks Man to Man. We appreciate all the questions, whether it be voicemail and or Twitter. Also, don't be shy. Go ahead. Leave that voicemail. I know it's nerve-wracking, but we all family here. We would love to hear more voicemails. So we love the questions, but, take a step out of the box and shoot us a voicemail. Mike, is there anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Yeah, thank you for the love and support as always. Hit the buttons that support us on every social platform. Try to do this again. They got minicamp next week, so more action to dissect. Hopefully I have some hotter takes. Although I don't think nothing's hotter than Chris not thinking Russ top 10 all-time Seahawk. That's up there. I really had not thought about that till today. I gotta think about that some more when we're done. But anyway, appreciate the love. We'll catch you guys hopefully next week after minicamp, then break for the summer, because when they're off, we're off. Yeah. So until then, catch you next week. Peace.